Have you ever wondered what games you should keep or you should lose? Find out here at Purge Reviews.
The Cave is a board game about diving into a cave and exploring it around. Pretty much the name of the game tells you about what to expect because it is what it has. Now, this game is very, very, very thematic. I feel like it's not just like a lucky type game as you're kind of going through like Indiana Jones type style. You have to manage your equipment and kind of go down. It reminds me of this Old West game I played one time where it was like you had to manage all these things, and this kind of has the same negativity to it that game had for me, which feels more like work than it does a game. The dominant strategy, now, when I say that, I mean I played this a few times, so not 100, 200 times like maybe like a developer has, but it really does feel like let somebody else do the work and cherry pick behind them is a dominant strategy. And then somebody has to be like, yeah, I guess I'll go first because we want to get this game going and have some fun. It just felt like a tremendous amount of work as I was playing with it. The scoring's a little wonky as what you're doing. And, you know, I feel like the person who designed this probably loves cave diving or going down and exploring caves, and it was trying to make a board game about it. I think that's a reasonable thing to believe after having read the rules, taught this game, learned this game, and played this game. I think it's probably made for somebody who really likes that. If you're into cave diving, I think you're really going to dig this game. I think it's going to up. If you have interest in like simulation type games where it's like you're managing things, maybe winning isn't what you're playing this game for because it seems like the dominant strategy really is to just let somebody else do the hard work. And that's frustrating as a gamer. It's frustrating to do all this cool stuff and having somebody else score points for it when it's not a cooperative game. Even in a cooperative game, that can be very disturbing to the player. The pieces are nice. At its heart, it's a tile laying game with some resource management in it. It's kind of what you're doing, I suppose. Getting the equipment, trying to guess what you're going to have as you go down, and hoping things work out for the best. While totally thematic, I'm not sure it gave us the gaming experience that we want. I think this is where the game has failed us, or me individually. It just wasn't as much fun as I wanted it to be. It's almost like when you watch a movie, I don't want to see a movie about the intricacies of cave dwelling. I guess I want some monsters to be down there, or I want Indiana Jones swinging through, or I'm looking for treasure. Something a little bit more this game promises and or delivers. So for that, I might say this time, I'm not dating you, The Cave, but it's really me, not you. I'm the problem here. This isn't meant for me. I didn't find the fun in it, but I think some people are really going to dig this one. So The Cave is one that I give a lukewarm recommendation to, but if you're really into the source material and this thematic issue that you have here of going into caves and diving down into them, you're going to really, really gel with this one. For us, it's going to be a Purge. Here is The Cave, which is a beautiful box art here. I really like this box art quite a bit. Going to get a rule book, which we'll look at in a few minutes. And you're going to have some tiles here. So it's going to be your starting tile. Based on the number of players, you're going to get 2 of these. It's just going to have more exits depending on how many people you're playing with. Everybody will get a player board in a different color. It's going to track the different actions you're going to have and your equipment that you're going to have in here. Everything is going to come like this. This is going to be the tiles that you'll be using. This is kind of an old school kind of format here. I think if this was released today, you would get maybe like plastic stuff or something that's not so cardboard-ish, if you will. This is what the tiles will look like. These will be the blockage tiles that you have. And then you'll have other tiles that you'll be drafting. And you have little icons in the corner that are very easily to see what would be there. And that's what you're going to get here, just a ton of tiles. Then you're going to have your meeples and your tents that will come in here. So you're going to have the little meeple guy, which is an odd shape. And you have your little tent, which is a semicircle here. And you have one of these enough to play with 4 players. Those are the components. No kind of insert in here or anything that can easily organize it. Here is the rule book with a picture of the front of the box. You can have all of your components listed here, which is great for 2012, and a picture of setup and number of players broken down how many tiles will come out of the game. Then what you're going to have here is a sequence of play, which is fairly easy to follow, and a breakdown of all of the tiles. So it's already teaching you how to play as you jump in. You're going to see plenty of full color pictures, and there are examples. So you can see examples with pictures in the examples, and it's really great. So everything new they give you, there is a picture and an example to go with it. And that really helps, especially with an action point game. You're not going to be doing the same actions all the time. You can easily find what you're looking for and how the different icons and iconography in the game work, which is very simple. And there is some wall of text in here, but I found this rulebook to be really, really good. Scoring is at the back. This is probably the most complicated part of the game. Just realize most things you do is going to score you some kind of points, and it breaks it down there. I found this rulebook to be very good. For a game that could have been very confusing, this book keeps it very, very clear. There is, you're going to be referring to this a lot. I mean, this player aid that you have here is okay, but, a lot of iconography, once again. That could have been handled a little bit differently, but it's one of those games where you just have a bunch of actions, and you're going to have to realize how you use them and how to score is part of the experience. Let's start out here explaining this and kind of how this aspect of the game works. So this is mainly going to be a player aid teaching you about your options that you're going to have during the game. In addition, you're going to have some of these spots on here that you can utilize and you can put things in. And when you're at home base, you can reorganize this and put what you want in here. In this case, we have some consumables. We might have a raft. And you can fill up all 8 of these spots to have items in it. Maybe you want an oxygen tank, or maybe you want to take some rope with you. That is fine too. Now, if you want to take your tent, it can take up these bottom 2 spots, and it will allow you to fill up these 4 spots here. So at this point, maybe I want to take an extra couple pieces of food with me and a camera, and I could fill that up if I wanted to. Now, I would not have access to these until I put my camp out on the board, but I would know that they're going with me if I'm wanting to go deeper into the game. So that's how this is going to organize and how this is going to be used. Just kind of know that this exists, and you can use things from this. Some of these, like the oxygen tank, has another side to it, so once you use it, and once you use it the second time, it is discarded. But you're going to need these foods, these consumables. So beginning of each of your turn, you're going to spin one of these. If you do, you can take a regular turn. If you don't have one of these to spin, you have to use all 5 of your actions to move 1 tile. It's going to be very slow going, so you need to plan out your game a little bit better. The camera is not one that's disposable. You can continue to take pictures with this, so it's always kind of handy to have one of those in your bag. When the game begins, you're going to start out here at camp. Whenever you get back to camp, you're going to be able to refill up your equipment and reorganize it. But you want to get as much food as possible because you don't have to feed when you're in this location. Otherwise, you're going to take your actions. You're going to have 5 actions per turn, but they all routinely work the same. So I'm going to move this over here. So for one action, I might move to this space. Once I'm there, you'll see the backs of these tiles have 1s, 2s, 3s, and 4s. So at the beginning of the game, we're going to be using the 1s. Once they're used up, you use the 2s, then the 3s, and the 4s. But I can spend another action to put this out here. And you can always put it out any way that you want as it goes. Now this is a water tile. So in order for me to go over the water tile and able to move into here, I got to have an oxygen tank, or I would have to use a raft from my ability. I could use a raft, or if I want to use an oxygen tank to swim through it, I would simply flip it over. So each of these tiles are going to do something a little bit different that you're going to have. You're going to have some of these that require you to take a picture. To say I spent an action point to do that. Taking a picture is optional, or I might just have something that doesn't have any icons on at all. If I'm unable to place a tile because all sides have to match up, then I would place one of these out, which is a blockage. I can't put any tiles next to it, but if somebody comes out from a different direction, then they can add to this, and I can use 2 AP to move through it. You'll see ones like this that will give you rope, that you need rope, and you need to descend down as you go, and that can be worth points to you as you're progressing through the game. And you'll see some of these squeeze points. They require more action points to get through, but they do score you some victory points to go through those. And that's pretty much a general aspect of how the game is going to go. You're going to have 5 action points per turn. You're going to be building this as you go through. And somebody, because you have to spend an action point to flip over, so they might be able to go through this quicker and get ahead of you and start building some of this stuff through here if they want to. There will be some dead ends that might come up for whatever reason, and then you might have to backtrack and go through. But you're exploring a cave. And a lot of this game is, yes, it's action points, and of course it's scoring points, but it's about building this cave as you go, and the aspects of it, and seeing a different cave every time you play, and there's some exploration inside of that. But for the most part, you want to get through here and score as much as possible, and whoever scores the most points will be the winner of the game. And that's just a quick overview of how you play the cave. Who should buy this game? This is strictly for people who really are into cave diving. You like the games that give you a little bit more work. You don't mind about the scoring. You're going to be doing things and other people are going to be scoring for your hard work. You're going to have to be okay with that. I would not say this falls into a family weight game. This is going to be a little bit of a heavier game. The scoring is a little wonky. It's going to take a little bit of work to get into this one, but the more you like diving into caves in real life, the more I think you're going to like this game. For us, it did not click, and it will be a purge.